All right. So, we got to talk about this whole Gaussian channel thing with Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's definitely got everyone's attention.
Yeah. Like, it sounds kind of intimidating, right?
A little bit, yeah.
But it's actually a pretty cool way to look at, like, where Bitcoin's been and maybe where it's going,
Right?
especially since it just did something we've only seen twice before.
It broke out of the Gaussian channel, and like I said, this has only happened 2 other times in its history, so.
Okay. So, two things.
Yeah.
One, my audience is smart,
Yeah.
but break down this Gaussian channel. Like, I'm talking to my in-laws at Thanksgiving who still think Bitcoin's fake money.
Okay, so imagine like you're drawing 2 lines on a Bitcoin price chart,
Okay.
kind of a channel, right? And the price is bouncing between those lines.
So, like a bouncy house, but for Bitcoin.
Kind of, but the big deal with the Gaussian channel is how the price acts over time.
Okay. And
So the longer it stays in that channel, the harder it is for the price to break out either up or down.
Oh, interesting.
And we're looking at this on the 5-day chart, which smooths out all the little daily price swings.
So it's about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
So, like, this isn't just some random thing that happens every Tuesday. It's a big deal because it's so rare.
Exactly. And it gets more interesting when you look back at the other 2 times this happened.
Okay, hit me.
So in 2014, Bitcoin was stuck inside that channel for almost 2 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 570 days to be exact.
Hey,
And then in 2019, it was a shorter period, but still significant, 250 days.
still a long time in the crypto world.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. In both those cases, after Bitcoin broke out of the channel, it went on a tear, like a massive bull run.
Okay, now we're talking everyone loves a good bull run.
For sure.
But there's always a but.
Of course, just because it happened before doesn't mean it'll happen again. Right.
Got to be realistic.
Exactly. So while this is exciting, we have to be cautious. It's not a guaranteed thing.
Okay, so how do we know if this breakout is legit? Like, what should we be watching for?
Well, one thing traders look for are confirmation candles.
Confirmation candle. Sounds kind of like a birthday cake for Bitcoin.
In a
Yeah.
way, I guess. So basically, we need to see more trading days where Bitcoin closes above that upper channel line.
So how many are we talking here?
The more the better. But at least a few in a row would be a good sign.
So it's like Bitcoin testing the waters before jumping in.
Exactly. It needs to show us it's committed, not just a quick dip above the line.
Okay, confirmation candles. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, there's another level. We got to watch the $74,000 mark.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Big time resistance.
Yeah,
Bitcoin's been stuck between 54 and 74,000 for a while now.
bouncing back and forth.
Exactly. And if it can break through 74,000 convincingly and stay above that level, that's when things could get really interesting.
So, like, that's the real test.
That's when the pros really start paying attention.
Okay, so two big things to watch. Confirmation candles above the Gaussian channel, and then that 74,000 resistance level.
You got it. Those are the big ones right now.
Okay, so we're looking for those confirmation candles and a break above 74K. Got it.
Yeah, those are the big ones. And it's funny, when you look back at 2021, it wasn't just the Gaussian channel breakout that got everyone excited.
Right, other stuff was happening too.
Yeah, like remember when Tesla bought a bunch of Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, that was huge. Everyone was talking about it.
Exactly. That kind of hype can really get a bull run going.
Totally. And speaking of things that could add fuel to the fire, you mentioned something earlier about a bull flag pattern.
Oh, yeah, that's another interesting one.
What is a bull flag, though? Explain it like I'm 5.
Okay, so imagine like a flagpole on a chart, right?
Okay.
That's a big price move up.
Gotcha.
And then the flag itself is like a little period where the price moves sideways.
So it's like Bitcoin catching its breath.
Exactly. And then if it breaks out of that flag to the upside,
To the upside, meaning?
meaning the price goes up, it's often seen as like a continuation of that first big move.
So it's like a second win for Bitcoin.
Exactly. And that's why this bull flag pattern is interesting right now.
Because it could line up with the Gaussian channel breakout.
Exactly. If we get a breakout from this bull flag, it could really amplify things.
Oh, double whammy. Okay, so we've got the Gaussian channel, the bull flag, that 74,000 level. Anything else we should be watching?
Though there are a ton of indicators traders use, but one that can be helpful is the stochastic RSI.
The what now?
Stochastic RSI. I know it sounds kind of complicated.
This bad.
But it's not too bad, basically. It's looking at whether Bitcoin's price is overbought or oversold.
Okay, and what does that mean exactly?
So imagine like a rubber band, right?
Yeah.
If you stretch it too far in one direction, it's going to snap back eventually, right?
Makes sense.
It's the same idea with price. If it goes up too fast, The stochastic RSI will tell us it's overbought and due for a pullback.
And if it goes down too fast?
Then it might be oversold, meaning it could be ready to bounce back up.
So it's like a measure of how much room Bitcoin has to move.
That's a good way to put it, and right now it's actually flashing oversold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which could be another clue that a move up is coming.
Interesting. So we've got all these potential bullish signals, but I know we got to be careful, right?
Absolutely. No indicator is perfect. It's not a crystal ball.
Right. So we shouldn't base all our decisions on just one thing.
Exactly. You got to look at the bigger picture. Consider all the possibilities.
So we've talked about the technical stuff, the charts, the indicators, but what about the other things that could affect Bitcoin's price?
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of that stuff, too.
Like what? Give me the rundown. Yeah, give me the rundown. Like what else should we be thinking about besides just the charts?
Okay, so like we talked about earlier, you got institutional adoption.
Right, like big companies deciding to buy Bitcoin.
Exactly. That's still a big deal. And then you've got macro stuff.
Macro meaning?
Like the big picture stuff, inflation, interest rates, all that jazz.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That stuff affects everything, not just Bitcoin.
Right.
And then you've got regulations, governments trying to figure out what to do with crypto.
Yeah. That's a whole other can of worms.
Totally. And then on top of that, you've got all the tech stuff happening within crypto itself.
Like what kind of stuff?
New blockchains, new applications, DeFi, NFTs, the whole 9 yards.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It really is, and it's all connected in some way, which is what makes this space so fascinating, but also really hard to predict.
So for our listener who's been listening to all this, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this whole Gaussian Channel deep dive?
You know, I think the biggest thing is just to remember that knowledge is power, especially in a space like crypto.
Right.
We've covered some really cool stuff today. The Gaussian Channel, bull flag, stochastic RSI, all these tools.
A lot of calls.
But they're just that tools.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, they can be helpful, but you can't rely on them completely. You got to look at the bigger picture, too.
Right. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Diversify your information sources, learn as much as you can, and don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions.
Love it. So to wrap this whole thing up, we've got this Gaussian Channel breakout, which is rare and potentially very bullish.
Right.
We're watching for confirmation candles, a break above that 74,000 resistance, and maybe even a bull flag breakout for good measure.
Yeah, and all that while keeping an eye on the bigger picture, all those macro trends, regulatory changes, tech advancements.
Because it's not just about the charts, it's about understanding the whole story.
Exactly. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this crazy world of crypto.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, on that note, that's a wrap for this deep dive into the Gaussian Channel and Bitcoin.
Until next time.
Catch you later.